in terms of challenges or fears, anything that you faced in your career that you can share with the group and how you overcame that?
Sure. When I think about all the different types of fears, moments of fears that I've had in my career, it all comes down to a fear of failure in some form, right? And there's certainly been times where there's been some sort of project, some sort of task where I've questioned whether or not I'm truly the best person to take this on. And so what I've learned is to push that thought aside and tell myself, well, I'm the person willing to take this on. And that makes me the best person in this moment to take this on. And also the realization that I'm not alone. Even if I'm the one leading it, I'm definitely not alone. I am super big on collaboration and very big on asking people for feedback. And I've also learned that when I ask people for their feedback and I share what I'm doing, then it also in turn gives me that support that I need to keep it going. And so far that has worked out in my favor.
So one great achievement or career milestone that you can share with us, and kind of different maybe pointers that you can provide for the group as well.
I recently received a promotion at IMT, and a colleague, after it had been announced, a colleague came up to me and he said, I've never seen somebody's role evolve as much as yours has in the past 3 years that you've been with the company. And my response is, I try to see what the company needs and then offer a solution to that. And so that would be my advice to everybody. Try to see what's needed. And even if it's not within your day-to-day task, or how even your boss is viewing your position, just if you see what's needed and then go after that and fix that or improve that, that you'll be just a tremendous asset to the organization. And that's how I've always approached my position. And therefore, my position actually, while my title is Director of Recruiting, actually extends beyond typical recruiting duties because I view my position such as that. And so then, as my position was evolving, I went to my boss and I asked for a promotion, and it was simply that I felt that, well, okay, now I would like to have the title and the compensation that goes along with what I'm doing. And it was a very easy argument to make, and of course I got that.
So, Jana, for you, do you have any insights to share with the group regarding the best way to present ideas to executives? I think this is something that came out a little bit, like Beth, when you were speaking about the rebrand. Sherry, you had to present the rebrand, and it was like, well, they weren't involved until the end, and then all of a sudden they didn't like it. Or, at first they really weren't on board. So how do you get people on board with those ideas, especially for the executives?
Sure, and this is something that I've given some thought to within the past couple of years, because a few years ago, my position changed where I was no longer reporting to somebody who is an HR person. I started reporting to our senior vice president, who oversees corporate and all property operations, right? This is not an HR person, and it's different. And then I also have significant interaction with the next level up, which are our principals. And so the conversations are a little bit different because, within HR or any specialized role, right, we can sit and we can talk HR, right? And there's certain things that don't need to be explained. There's certain assumptions and general principles that are understood. However, but when you're talking with somebody outside of that, you need to put the jargon aside and not make any assumptions, and never just talk about something being, well, hey, it's a standard HR thing. Why wouldn't we do that? That doesn't fly, right? And I also found that, and not only does it not fly, but it also limits myself. Right, so when I'm talking to them, I need to be, one, very succinct and get to my point very quickly, right? What am I suggesting, and what is the business problem I'm trying to solve with this, right? And I have to answer that ROI question, right? I have to, and I have to try as much as possible to quantify things that are even more on the warm and fuzzy side. But I have to at least try to make that link, right, to the business. And so this is a transition, an important transition to make in one's career, and it helps me sell certain ideas. And it's also something that I see other people struggling with this transition and having a very difficult time getting their minds out of their specialty and focusing on the business, right? The business operations. And that's what we need to do, and that's when I think we'll be able to add the greatest value.
One, how do you get people on board when they've already rejected the idea and they're not on board? And can that even happen? And then two, like, what have you maybe learned to do differently in your process? So perhaps, involving people more early on and getting them to be a part of the process rather than just telling them this is what we've done.
When something big is rolling out, so for example, we are rolling out a cultural program in January. What I've done is I've already started to use the wording and get it out there without telling people that it's new wording and new thoughts and new ideas. I'm starting to just put those words out there a little bit. So they're already starting to see it. So when it does roll out, they can say, yeah, well, of course, yes, that's, of course we're going to do this and we're going to follow along with it. And it'll be, I think, a little bit more of a comfortable progression.
What if you had one tip? Now here's, I'm going to frame this up. Be quick, but your secret sauce, your takeaway. What's one thing that you could tip us off to? It's a ritual, something you do personally, not your company, you. You hang your success on this. It's when you go to bed, it's when you wake up, it's you read, you journal, you write, you do something unique to yourself. That's the one thing that you could share with us. Kind of like, I call it a success tip.
At the beginning of each day, I ask myself, well, what am I going to do to add value today? And at the end of the day, what did I do to add value? And evaluate that honestly.